All right, this mukbang is going to forever change how you think about diet. This is the Honey Tangerine, Professor Spira, Mucus-free mukbang, and it starts right now. I'm Professor Spira. I practice something called the Mucusless Diet Healing System, and I've helped thousands of people transform their lives using the methods of this system. And today we are going to do a mukbang of honey tangerines. And if you want to see some more mukbang things, I guess you do is search on my channel, and there's other I do a review of Nikocado avocado, and I got inspired. He inspired me to invent the mucus-free mukbang. So I'm the first mucus-free mukbang trademark. I don't really care, but there's people gonna know where that came from. So here we go. So first and foremost, I should address, as I did in a previous video where I cut these and prepared this recipe, the hybrid theory is problematic. I don't believe in it. I practice the Mucusless Diet Healing System by Professor Arnold Ehret. We don't have a foods list. It's not a food list diet. It's a systematic therapeutic methodology to transform yourself off of mucus and pus forming foods. This does not create starch. These are not starchy. I talked about it in a long time. I did a long rant on the other video. I'll try not to do it here, but just understand, we don't believe in that. If you abide by these lists and these laws that people put out here that they just make up, that they're just say like, well, hybrid. If you were to, there would be nothing. If you didn't permit yourself to eat things that are in stores that have remained unchanged in the past 50,000 years, then you're not going to eat anything. There's going to be nothing for you to eat. Everything we eat today would be hybrid or has evolved or has changed in some way. Yes, some things have had human intervention, and a human has stepped in and said, well, let me try to see if we can create something or transition a certain food into something else or something like that. Does that automatically mean, just because there may have been a little human intervention, does that mean those items will cause cancer? Does that mean that these items will do whatever it says that people do whatever people says is going to do? No, this is not going to do any of those things. This is a very sweet fruit that can help you in your transition, that can help you cleanse your body. So don't look a gift horse in the mouth. That's my message. So you do with that with what you want. You do not have to eat none of this. You can, if you have your own space where you're growing your own, just the most non-hybrid, you found some ancient seeds and you've been able to grow all of your own seeded grapes and your own seed, and like ancient grapes, not the grapes we have today. You have access to ancient fruit that only you can grow. Then I love you and you do that. But don't complain to us or try to, when you're warning, like, oh, it's hybrid, that's hybrid. It's like, that's the kind of stuff people get into because it's just easy. It's like, it's just so easy to, oh, that's hybrid. And there's going to be people that'll comment down below probably that'll say something that didn't watch this video. They didn't watch this far. So all they're going to do, and I would like for people to respond to them, folks that actually watch this video this far, and say something to them, because I guarantee there's going to be some comments that's like, that didn't watch the video that's, oh, those are hybrid. Man, those are hybrid. Don't do that. You don't know nothing. That's hybrid. Don't do that. Why you eating that? Why you promoting that? You obviously didn't study. So just kindly let them know that, I don't know, or don't waste your time. But it's one of those things there. they need to be educated sooner or later, because the path that they're on is unsustainable. So we try to talk about sustainability. Now, as I eat this is not how everybody eats necessarily on the transition diet, the Mucusless Diet Healing System. It's very customizable to each person depending on where you're at. And I've been practicing the Mucusless diet for 18 years, for a long time, or a relatively long time for most people that do this. You know, Brother Ayers practiced for 40 years and Takora for like 45 years. So everybody's gonna be at a different space. I didn't start off where I would eat like this for weeks at a time, where I could just have a meal of fruit. I did a lot of 2-course meals where I would have fruit meal, wait 15 minutes, and then have the vegetable meal, because I needed a little bit more. Now I can eat a fruit meal and be fine. So as we talk, so what I'm actually gonna do in this video, this is like how I really do eat these. So I'm gonna put my locks up. So I like to put these up when I'm eating so that I don't get stuff all over them. So now you see me that way. So let's mukbang it up. These are so sweet. I love these. And they're usually, the good ones are only available, kind of fall and winter. Usually if you see them off season, it's not really good at all. And the juice you can make with these is amazing. It's just so sweet. Seeds. Of course, if you have a compost, you can, put a little bag, add this all to your compost heap. Spit out seeds. I don't know. It was a polite way to spit out the seeds. I'm just thinking of people that are so prim and proper and it's like how would they even eat that? Like it's funny to me. I'm just thinking about how would they even eat like real fruit that with seeds, which you got to constantly spit the seeds out. So this is, I think, about 4 of them that's on this plate. And I got these at a market. I'm in Miami, Florida right now, and I got these in a market that was actually in the hood, which is something that you don't see in where I'm from, in the country I'm from, of Ohio. You do not see produce. It's definitely what they call a food desert, because once you get into the inner city of Cincinnati, unless there's some stuff there now that I know, or even Columbus, I mean, there's just not a lot of produce places or anything, and street vendors with produce. I mean, that's just not really a thing. And even though the area where this was sort of, it's like the area is in the process of being gentrified, but this particular produce stand looks like they've been there for years. Like, this is not a gentrified type of produce stand. This is like, You know, this is a real kind of deal. And a lot of people go there because there was such a long line. I actually went there yesterday and the line was so long to check out. I was like, man, I'll come back tomorrow. And so I went back today and got a bunch of fruit that in Ohio, normally that would have cost me like 25, 30 bucks. It cost me $12. They charged me $12 for that. So I'm happy. I think the name of the place was LaGuardia Produce, maybe. Which I'm sure somebody will ask. So what else do people talk about during mukbang? Do they let's just talk about what's going on or what they did? Now you can peel these. If you make a slit and then peel the skin off and eat the whole thing. I do that sometimes. If the skin isn't real hard, if they're kind of supple and easy to get into, I'll do that. Or if I don't have something to cut it with, you know, I'll kind of bite into it and then peel it, eat it that way. But I hope, you know, the point of these is to show, I guess, to see somebody eat a fruit meal. Because when I think about it, with all of the juicing videos and all of I can't think of anybody that does videos where they're having like a mono meal and it's not special. I'm not fasting. I'm not trying to do anything interesting. This is what I do every day. It's very boring for me. That's why I never made this kind of video, because I'm like, why would anybody, like, if this video only gets 30 views, I wouldn't be surprised, because why do you want to watch me do what I do every day? I'm just eating fruit. That's what I do. But I get it, because a lot of people don't, and I forget that sometimes. Like, I live in my little bubble, because you create your reality. That's what I encourage. I mean, I do what I teach other people to do or encourage other people to do, which is create your own reality. Don't let the outside world suck you in, make you depressed, make you angry, all that kind of stuff. You do your best to create with wherever you're at, whatever circumstances you find yourself in. This will be different everywhere around the world. Different legal structures and economic structures and governance structure, all that kind of stuff is going to be different. But in every context, there's ways for you to create your reality, create your realm, design it how you want it to the best of your ability, and be patient with it, because it might take decades. I've practiced Mucusless Diet for 18 years. It's taken me this long to design my life. This is how I designed it. I like the way I designed it. And I sacrificed a lot to get here. I sacrificed a lot of different dangling of the carrot, things trying to lure me in off of my path, especially within the mainstream society kind of realm and jobs and all that kind of stuff. I've had things that have tried to lure me in, but I wanted to design my world. If I would have went down some other paths, I would have been able to be successful in whatever path I took, but I wouldn't have created my reality and created my own thing. And so I encourage you to do that. And what's nice is when you have multiple people that have created their own realities, and especially when those realities can work together, It's a beautiful thing because then you collaborate and you can have real collaborations. It's not like one person leeching off another person or one person trying to just be subservient into, fall into somebody else's reality and be their minion or something. It's like, nah, you have people coming together and that creates really strong partnerships and you get enough of those folks coming together. Now you have a community. Community, and like, to me, isn't just a bunch of followers and sort of weak folks coming together to be stronger together. It's like really strong people that have their own realities that they've already constructed come together and merge with like-minded people who also have built their own realities. Now you're talking about an unstoppable type of partnership and community. And that's what I'm talking about, so I don't know what other people are talking about, but that's where it's at to me. Create your own reality. You don't use things as an excuse. Money is always an issue. Time is always going to be an issue, but you can't use that as an excuse to not create the reality that you want. And you might have to design it, and maybe you're in a situation where that reality can't happen for 20 years. But you can work every day to, when that 20 years gets here, it's on and popping. And you're able to make that move, do what you need to do. But in order to create, first you have to have some perspective of what is a great reality to create. Because most people are living other people's realities. Most people live in a world designed by other people. And it makes me think of this documentary on, it's kind of Epcot and Disney, Walt Disney. And he had this concept of creating these little communities where it's like he controlled everything. Like if you went there and lived there, you would be living his life in his world, like you're in his world. And so I'm saying you got to create your own reality and your own world, and you do so in a rational way where I'm not saying to do things in such a way where it's going to just make it hard for you to exist in whatever society you find yourself in. You want to be cognizant and mindful of, I'm in a certain societal situation and I don't try to fight. There's certain fights that I'm not going to fight. You pick your battles. And so, I run a company. I do all that. All the paperwork is how that's supposed to be. The taxes are how it's supposed to be. I am not cutting no corners. I'm doing what you're supposed to do within that context, because there's certain fights that you don't want to wage that fight. Now, when the time comes for me to make a move, then boom, it'll be a smooth transition. It won't be like, be a crazy thing. And now I don't know if I'm not giving enough detail to even what I'm talking about, but go back and watch a video with when I interview Michael Fathauer, and that'll really open up your mind in terms of contracts, the power of contracts, the power of association, freedom of association, constitutions, what is the power behind governing documents, founding documents. There's a whole thing. But that's how part of the design, you're designing these things, and you just want to do that. You just create your own reality, your own world as best as you can. And of course, that world will evolve. It can always get better. It can always develop. And that's what you're going to want to do. And on the road to developing your own world, of course, you can find mentors to plug into, other people that are creating worlds similar to the ones that you want. So I'm not saying you do it all by yourself, and actually far from it. You want to find mentors, you want to find coaches, you want to find people that can help you, give you information, help you understand this kind of stuff. If like somebody that would tell you about private membership associations and how to set that up, if that's something that you need to help you create your reality, or how to create governing documents for a new nation of people. You want to, hang out with those guys, like people that know how to do that. Be a mentee, of course. So I'm not saying do everything by yourself, but you got to have your own vision, and at some point you're gonna want to institute that. Mukbang, da-na-na-na-na, mukbang. Good stuff. Good stuff. Guess there's a technique. You can remove some of the seeds with a knife. I guess if we didn't call this mukbang, we just call it lunch with Spira. Is more what this really is. It's like you sitting down with me at lunch. This would be the conversations that we would have. It's just talking and hanging out. So I guess that's kind of what the mukbang seems like it is. It's probably good to do these videos too, because we really do have to create our own new culture. And it's like, as I'm eating these, it's kind of like I'm in my head, there's these iconic images about people, the way you're supposed to eat certain, especially seafood. And I don't really know anything about it because I wasn't into seafood even when I ate terrible. So, but I know that there's like clams and crabs and crab legs, and there's things of people doing stuff to make it and then eat it, and they're sucking on pus leg and all that kind of stuff. And it's just a look, and it's weird, but it's this standardized cultural kind of thing that people identify. I'm like, yes, that's a person that's eating this pus leg or whatever, whatever's going on. Like, people know what they're doing. And so with us, it's gotta, like, that should be an iconic thing. Like, oh, they're having a mono fruit meal. They might practice a Mucusless diet. That's how they would eat that, Because usually the people that don't eat this kind of stuff as a full meal, they don't eat this much of it. They just have like one, they might have one of these or like two at the most. with a bunch of other food that shouldn't be mixed together anyway. But but when you see someone like us that is eating this much stuff, then like, okay, well, this person is practicing Mucus diet, might be a raw foodist, or somebody that's just hip, just a hipper person, where just hip, cool, that knows something, knows a little bit more than the average schmo, That's what the thing is. At the end of the day, we gotta have, they say, influencers. Like this has to be cool people, or people that just have a little charisma to you. Be interesting. That's the thing. It's like, where's interesting people? Be but to be interesting, cultivate yourself. That's part of the cultivation process. The long lost art of characters. You used to be able to go, and you can still go, especially amongst elders in certain communities. I'm just thinking like the black community, but you can easily find just characters, just interesting people that are charismatic, and they don't have a YouTube channel with any followers. They're not trying to, they're just interesting to talk to. They got something to them. They've cultivated different elements of their personality. And we need more of that. More, just be interesting, because that will make what we're doing cool or cooler. And then more people want to do it, just because people like to be cool. People like to do what the cool kids are doing, be at the cool kid table. These are just, you might not like these dynamics. These are just social dynamics. I didn't create them, but it's the society that we live in. If we want to change it, you have to change it from within. What a lot of people do is they talk at people from the outside in a way that they'll never understand. And it's like, I'm just saying, no, people like interesting people. And so you can be respected if you are interesting enough and you've cultivated yourself, you know who you are, then that's going to influence people. People be like, yeah, that's all right. It won't be as weird. They won't, because it's only weird kind of when you're trying, and it makes me cringe sometimes when I see some of these like people that are just really early on in some kind of raw food thing or mucus-free thing or something, and they just started it last week, but they're already made like 20 videos. We're like, yeah, I'm really into this and I'm doing this and that. And I'm like, slow down. You gotta like cultivate a little bit of this and that kind of thing. But, so yeah. This one isn't as good. If I'm running across one that's not as good, I don't eat it. I don't force myself to eat it. It's like, that one didn't work out. They're not all going to be gems. You'll get a couple that might not be good. I'm going to eat one more. Maybe you should do a thing to get me on the Food Network. Professor Spira's Lunch with Professor Spira. That could be a Food Network show, and it's like a talk show / food prep, and we just sit down and just eat mono meals and broom salads, and maybe we'll have an enema episode. That would be really interesting. That sounds like a 2040 type of thing, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it could be a 2025, or maybe it could happen a lot sooner. We'll see. That's kind of up to you. That's up to how the demand, and how much people get exposed to this consciousness. Because if they want to think that this is extreme, nothing is more extreme than these shows that they have on there. You know, eat man versus food and just all this gluttony-based shows. Like, why is that okay? To promote gluttony and to promote that kind of thing, but to have somebody that would promote mono meals, mono fruit meals, or have a show that revolves around fruit. You could have all kinds of different smoothies and fresh juice combination. I mean, you can just, all kinds of different stuff you could do with a show like that, because that's all they do with these other shows is it's the same piece of pus leg, chicken leg, cow, and they just find new ways to put just new seasonings, put it in the oven, fry it, deep fry it. It's like they just do alternate of this. It's the same thing. There's very little diversity in the meat world, but people think there is because they've mastered all these different ways to put it together. But you could do that in, you know, and that's what people do with their raw food cookbooks and juice books and all that kind of stuff. You just have a million different ways to do the same stuff with the sort of the same handful of items, and it makes it interesting. You can create a show, but don't reject it based on thinking that it's extreme, because there's nothing more extreme than these idiots is out here trying to do whatever they're doing with the, you know, with the gluttony based type of shows. Now, with citrus fruit, you usually don't get full. You just get kind of satisfied. Like everything feels real good. You're like the clarity, mental clarity, everything just kind of, you know, but you're not going to get this heavy bulk in your stomach. Like some fruits, you'll be like, okay, I'm full. You know, if I eat a bunch of mangoes, all right, you know, that's, you know, I'll actually feel that because there's enough there for the stomach to break down. But with these, you don't really, at least I don't get that type of full feeling. But there is a point where my body does know, like, you got enough, that's good. All right, so that is the honey tangerine mucus-free mukbang, and you know, I hope that you see, now that you see somebody eat a complete fruit meal, that it is something that people do. It's not weird, it's not crazy, it's not exotic. It's just fruit. It's eating fruit. That's what it is. There's nothing else to say. Just eating fruit. It's not that big, you know, it's not a big deal. It's not, you know, but you got to do it, to understand what we're talking about and to feel what that feels like. You got to experience it and do it. But so anyway, I thank you so much for tuning in. Please like and share this video with your peeps, friends and family, and folks that you think could benefit from a mono meal or two. And don't go anywhere. Click right there and check out this other video. This is a great video to check out. Click it, and I will see you over there.